gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the best podcast on air, streaming
in the Western Hemisphere.
in the Western Hemisphere. The Universal Lens. I don't know about that. I think we are.
And I'm your host,
What am I?
Bob Saget.
I'm John Emilio. As always, Anthony and Henry have come back. I don't know why they keep coming back, but they do.
I lock the doors and they keep on coming.
I shut the doors. I lock myself in the basement. And I hear, "Wait here."
At first, you hear the little bitter patter of the dog.
Oh, Milo. Yes, Milo. That's another conversation. He's a good boy, but
We're back, peeps.
we're back. So we were having a conversation before the show started. Anthony keeps saying this, and we're going to start doing it. We should really just hit record and start. Because we go into, it's unfiltered, but we go into a,
Awesome conversation, usually.
yeah.
Interesting.
And how did we get on?
Well, we were talking about the different our reality is subjective, right? We started from there.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how, if
Mine's going blank. Right
if
now, but yes.
we were talking about how if there's a universal connectivity
Yes.
to it all,
Correct. Universal law.
right?
Yes.
And we were talking about, well, then you leave room for God, right? As well, right? Yeah. God is part of that universal order. Therefore, the certain drugs or plants or whatever that he puts in our way are there for us to either take or not take, experiment or not experiment. And then you made a reference, and I said, I reject that frame.
Well, the reference I made was, if you want to, because you had said like about God and how there's, and I said, well, it's also universal, like universal law, universal wisdom, like a universal order to things, right? Anthony had said like single amoeba, single cell.
Oh, we were talking about, how the reason why I have my faith, and there are many reasons for it, but when you think about it scientifically, you look at single cell, everybody says, the theory of evolution, we came from single-celled organisms, blah, 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 billions of years, yada, 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 here we are. But then people of faith will turn around and say, well, if that's true and you don't believe in God, then where are the two-celled organisms and the three and the four? Don't you realize we still have single-celled organisms, and then you have us? Where's the growth? There's nobody in the middle of the chart, and that's what I mean.
And we were kind of going like, where I think that's where
it went from. Yeah.
We're not scientists, none of us, so we're not going to pretend to be. I mean,
Nor are we pastors.
No, nor are we. So I'm not going to pretend to be a scientist. I don't understand. I mean, there's scientific things that are sure proven, and they're going to be scientific theories. Yeah. I think they're all meshed in there.
The theory we're talking about was
yes,
that if there is not a subjective reality,
but a base reality.
Yes. That's reality. That you can.
What actually is without the lens on. So everybody taking their glasses off and say, "This is what it is," and then
Right. So and for anybody who might be confused as well, you could be walking down the street and you're thinking, "I'm having a great day." The guy you're passing right by, who was in the same coordinate as you, is thinking, "Oh my God, he's gonna go hang himself later on." So it's the same. They're living in the same reality, but their subjectivity is different.
It's the way that they're seeing it.
I don't know how we got to ayahuasca. Well,
I brought it up. Aaron Rodgers came to my mind. I don't know why.
How there are certain substances. Yes, you're right. You started with that, but certain substances can try to get you to that place.
To touch base.
There you go. And apparently ayahuasca is one of them.
Ayahuasca is one of the ones and that we were talking about, and it was. I kind of went back to, well, we could kind of get to that with doing the stuff that we're talking about. It's stripping away thought, coming to a base reality where there's no bias, no opinion, no thoughts coming in, no anything, just you're seeing life as it is. Even if it's still working in the background, your focus is on what actually is, not what your mind is telling you. And taking some of these substances you were saying, like people who do that, ayahuasca.
But I would say ayahuasca is the extreme, and then we started talking about how some people smoke pot and can get to the same place.
Yes.
Well, we have to throw up without the violence.
Yeah, I think ayahuasca. I never done it.
Throwing up and hallucinating.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I know it's
sit there with a beer and think about things. I guess
it's hyper intense. What I know.
I mean, look, I think they're just two different extremes.
But the point I made then, I go, so you had said if there's a God, or I said, well, the universal order. I said, well, let's take the Bible, the story of the Bible for a second, right? Where they say Adam and Eve, God put a tree in front of Adam and Eve and said, here's this tree. eat from it, don't eat from it. It's your choice. Same way you were saying, well, why would this universal almighty order put these things on this planet if we weren't meant to try them? I think it's not if we were meant to try them, it's choose, don't choose. Free will. You could choose to try
That's exactly what
and
God
with
gave
every
us. Free
choice,
will.
with every choice we make, there is a consequence. It's just that's the law. That's just the law of the universal law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? That's just the way you said physics actually before, right? So everything we do causes a reaction, and that reaction, I don't know what it is. And then we just kind of went from there. But how you could get there, you could have that same ability in my eyes. Maybe you're going to lose a little bit of the floaty feeling that comes with some of these narcotics or herbal stuff that these people do, but you could get the essence of it without having to do it. Like I've heard people say, if they smoke certain marijuanas, it makes them think clearer. Yeah. Okay, maybe it does. And all of a sudden they have these, I understand. What if I tell you you could get there even without it? And I'm not knocking doing it. Yeah, right? Knock yourself out if it's something you enjoy responsibly.
But you can get there without spending all that money every month. There's always
you can do it, and you could still in a more natural. I'm looking for a word. Without all the rainbows and ponies and all that fun stuff that comes along with, let's say, if somebody's going to smoke marijuana, you could still have that same base effect of seeing life, understanding it's beyond the thinking mind. Because people, when they say they smoke marijuana, it slows them down, right? Their mind, or it makes them really anxious. So I think it depends on the person's chemistry.
I think it has to do with experience. So I think that when you reach a certain level of awareness, that you're able to actually hone in on, like, what you want to pay attention to, what you want to focus on. That's one thing, and that's one experience. And when you have it, you're like, wow, that was great. That was very good. And now that I'm seeing that I can actually affect my mood, really, it's impressive, because I used to walk around all sour, and now I walk around better. Okay, all good. That's one experience. Smoking marijuana, whatever strand it may be, or whatever hybrid it may be, is another experience. Doing ayahuasca or shrooms or anything else is another experience.
Agreed.
Every single one's going to give you their input as, in the ayahuasca. Fucking saw God, bro. I saw God. Like, he told me.
That's how close he was to death.
Right. He told me I got to come back here. And I got, whatever is a story that,
I got you.
that people come back with.
Believe me, if God wants to talk to you, he's not waiting for you to go to Peru to ayahuasca. I'm pretty sure he can handle that one.
But, and I think that all comes with our, desire to know.
Well, it's funny you said that.
Huh?
I had written down that I want to talk today about. One of the things was desire.
It's our desire to know. We have this.
Oh, I thought you meant the song.
Well, we have this. I think we have this very inquisitive nature about us, because it's what drives. It's what drives technology. It's what drives.
That's funny, huh?
Crazy.
That's crazy.
But that desire is what drives ingenuity. It's what drives everything, really. Not everything,
No, but it does. But there's desire, there's aware desire, and there's unaware desire, which is what I wanted.
I was going there because
funny, and I didn't share this
because I was going there because I refer back to the last episode when we spoke, and I said, there was something that I remember. One of the many moments with you was we were at the restaurant, and I said, blah 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 blah. And I said, and whatever it was that I was saying, I said, blah, 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 blah. And you said, why do you need to know?
Okay.
And I needed to know because I felt as if I had this desire.
Sorry.
I felt as if I had this desire to know. Right. And I equate everything with that, thirst for knowledge.
Thirst for knowledge. That's okay.
And when you said, why do you need to know? And then you realize it's not a true thirst for, it's not a true desire. It's more your ego having a snake skin going in. It's desire. You want to know.
I want to know. Yeah.
I mean, it's desire. You understand? Like, your ego's fucking with you.
Yeah.
And until you're able to see it, you're like, holy shit.
Well, like I said, look, the word desire is that to have desire to do something, and I forgot how I came about this. I don't know. If I was in
I'm
the shower.
disappointed you didn't tell me that was a topic we could have opened with you two's desire.
I didn't know if I wanted to talk
I'm
about
a
it.
little upset about it.
I didn't know
It
if
was
I-
like a perfect setup.
I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it. I was like, let me see where it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a word we created for a feeling that we get of something that we might want to accomplish, something we want to learn more about, something we want to master, and that's all great. And it has given us the desire to learn more, has given us technology. The desire to be better has given us health, better health care and, great things in this world, and a civilization that has a lot of comfort, creature comforts.
right now,
the structure,
compared to
the desire to have a better electric grid back in the days of Edison and yeah, right. So, and Tesla back then. So that's all great. That's phenomenal. But look at also a lot of those people who invented those things and the torture they went through, because it was an unaware desire. It was driving them so hard where it was their only purpose, and it was an unhealthy one. So you could have desire to accomplish something, but if you do it with a light of awareness, or your map, your compass is awareness, not only can you still accomplish the same exact thing, but you could do it without the torture, without taxing yourself mentally. Not that you're not going to have to think your way through something if it's a difficult, task you're trying to figure out, but without the egoic, self-defeating, self-inflating or deflating. Like, that doesn't have to be there. And you can just concentrate on what you want to accomplish. So, like, people say the word desire sounds kind of dirty. Right?
Like you want to bang somebody.
Yeah, like I desire her, or I desire him, or I desire whatever. I desire that car. I desire that house. It sounds, especially like if you're a very religious person too, it sounds very,
right. You're not
unholy.
You're not
supposed to have desire. I should not desire. I should not covet anything. Right? That's what they say. Right? That's what's one of the commandments. I should not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so that's one of them. But
she's hot.
But
are you willing to risk eternal damnation?
You know it's a joke because I don't have neighbors.
Oh, that's what makes it the joke, huh?
You do have that goat.
He is desirable.
But it's not a bad thing as long as you have that awareness. So I just I just feel like it's another word, like a lot of words we use in this language that are just
multiple meanings.
Misused, and has that's great. I love that. It has multiple meanings. Multiple meanings. Doesn't have to be desire, negative desire.
Or
sexual. Or that you covet something, or it has to have it, or by all means necessary. Right? It's that's where now you've become an unconscious, unaware person. It's like the artist who paints a beautiful piece of art. Like, you have artists who create these beautiful things, but they're just locked into what they're doing. It's not about the fame, not about the glory. It's about bringing this thing to life, right? And that's beautiful. I mean, you could create great things with awareness, right? Without all that negativity, or without all that,
there's a blind spot there.
Okay, what's the blind spot?
The blind spot is that there are some artists that are going to hunker down and just do that.
Yes.
Until they get it right.
And
so they're not caught up in the money, but they are caught up. They're caught up in just.
So, yeah. Yes. I mean, it depends on how you go.
Obsessivity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's agreed.
So that is you always fall back on your awareness level. So your awareness level, like, I think at all times, like, I'm the kind of guy that will slip in and out of awareness, if I may.
Everybody does.
If you allow me that. Yeah. But it's like, you always realize it. I know when I did it, how I did it, what I was thinking about, and come on, you're the awareness guy, come on. And so, you have to kind of like be aware that you're doing an undertaking, right? It's the best way for you to keep everything balanced, right? So that painter or artist you're talking about, yeah, sure, he had the desire to create this beautiful painting, and he didn't care about the commercial success, right? Yeah, great, but he's hunkered down, and he probably doesn't talk to his family at all because he's
Oh yeah, I mean
You know?
that's we don't know. I mean we can put arms and legs onto
exactly.
anything, right?
But
Yeah.
just what we come back to is the awareness. And like you said, yeah, you can have this desire, but be aware. Just like with my stupid example of I needed to know something,
Sorry.
and you're like, I'm sorry, you can tell I'm either Italian or Cuban.
Should have thrown some pixie dust in the air at the same time over the book.
We can work it in. We can work it in. Make a wish. But yeah, so just like I wasn't aware of what I was doing to myself at that moment, and you did. Well, here you go. Let me hold it there.
I think you need to listen to more music in the car. Stop arguing with yourself so much, I think.
So good call on that. But I think that I use car time for programming time.
Yeah, you said this last week too.
And
But I'm saying, have you ever considered that you dig yourself into that hole?
I'm
So is it possible to overdo
I'm so
thinking?
good. I'm
Yes.
open to that. Like I'm open to that.
Like maybe there's a time.
Even an overload of mindfulness.
Sure. Well, that's my point. My point is maybe you put time aside to not visit anything other than enjoying the music.
I've caught myself doing that, and when I catch myself doing that, I put on the music.
There you go.
But I don't just put on a random station. Like I want to pick the music I'm listening to.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna put on like Ed Cartola or something, you're not helping yourself.
No. Eckhart Tolle singing.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Eckhart Tolle singing the best of the Beatles.
No, but you're taking a break. You're actually taking a break from your mind a little bit, and that veg time is good.
Yeah.
You know, I think at least.
I think it was 4 car rides ago. I was in the mood for Bobby Darin. Mac the Knife went on, Beyond the Sea, and it went from there.
Have you caught yourself thinking and your mindfulness and so on in your drive, and then, realize maybe there's a song in the background that you can't stand, but you weren't even paying attention to it, and you were so deep that you passed 4 lights, and you're curious on what color the light was when you passed them, because you don't remember looking at it.
Yes.
So, you catch it.
That's actually unaware.
Well, we've talked about.
Yeah, but can you go so deep into thinking about what you're thinking about that you're not paying attention to what you're doing?
Yes, but
I catch myself doing that all the time.
So if you go very deep into thought, you're unaware because now you've gone.
Yeah.
Now your mind is taking control, and your awareness has become focused just on what you're thinking
snap yourself out of it, and you're like, Purple Rain is on. I would never listen to Purple Rain.
Noticing when you're drifting too deep into thought on autopilot. Like I'll catch myself thinking when I'm on autopilot thought. I'll a lot of times during the day where I just start going deeper into. Not if I'm working.
I think that's what he's talking about. What he was kind of doing. Yeah.
No, but the equivalent of what you're saying is what we used to say. You're going home from work. You get into your car, and you're driving. Next thing you know, you're going to pull into your garage. You're like, yo, I don't even remember. Like I was.
But then you backtrack and you're like, all I did was
my body didn't
think. Yeah, but your brain wasn't there. Which is not necessarily a good thing when you drive.
No, so it actually was a part of your brain was
right. A part
of your brain is controlling the car. Remember, because our brain has different functions, right? So a part of your brain was driving the car, paying attention to the street lights, and taking you on the path it has remembered and done so many times. It's second nature. It doesn't need you. Okay, if I tell you like to breathe, you could manually control your breathing. Mm-hmm. But if I start talking to you,
it's called involuntary.
Okay, yes, it's involuntary. Your brain is like, man, I got this.
Like your heart.
Don't worry about it.
Your heart's it's called involuntary.
Yeah, stop your heart from beating.
Exactly.
Not that I would want to, but stop your. Okay,
you don't have to think about your heart beating or your breathing because it's
going or pee.
Well, no, you got to think about that because you want to be on a fucking toilet.
Yes.
All right,
but once you start,
that one, not that one.
No, you don't do that. But you do it. But just your system. But you do have voluntary control over certain things.
You mean your digestive system?
If I tell you to raise your right arm, raise your right arm.
Okay.
You know how you did that?
No, of course not.
You don't know how
your brain sending messages to your muscles subconsciously or unconsciously.
Your brain's like, I know how to.
Of course, that's all involuntary.
Don't worry about triggering the deltoid to the trap to this to that.
My whole point, though, John, was can you do that so much to where it's not helping anymore.
That's what we're trying to say. Yes.
Or now you're numbing your.
Now now you're at the point where even though your mind could go on such autopilot where it doesn't need your awareness to continue. And when that happens, you become an unconscious individual. Then it goes from little things like not remembering your car ride home to not realizing what you're saying to somebody because just a thought comes out, or you're angry and you follow the emotion, you follow the anger, you follow the jealousy, you follow the feeling, you follow that negative thought, you follow that intrusive thought because you have there's no conductor. It's an orchestra that goes, whatever we want to fucking play, you play. That's it. Is it? So the orchestra or the conductor is the awareness who goes, I play the tempo. That's not controlling you, but I'm watching what everybody
Is it good to take a break from your mind every once in a while, like we were talking about, and maybe put on something that doesn't require thought?
Absolutely.
You know, like what about Bob? First of all, one of my favorite movies on the planet Earth. If you haven't seen it, some of my best therapy has been from What About Bob?
How is it though?
No, it was
Bill Murray, no?
Yeah, Bill Murray and who was the other? Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
It's an 80s movie.
Trust me, I've seen it, but I just.
What about Bob? Okay, and he said he gives Bob Wiley, which is the guy's name, the patient. He goes, take a break from your mind, you know, and do things in small increments. Well, but take a break from your mind was the main thing, you know, and maybe that's what we need to do every once in a while.
Yeah.
I really think that's a big.
I agree with you.
So what you were saying before is that or what Anthony was trying to say. I'm sorry. What Anthony was trying to say to you is that maybe you spend so much time trying to rewire your subconscious and put that good information, which is great, right? Great. But you're constantly actively. Maybe once in a while, put on the music and just enjoy the music.
Keep putting it in a better way.
Don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
Don't go unconscious. Be present and enjoy the music.
You are so right.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
Good for you, man. That's probably one of the best steps is that you recognized it. That I'm doing this too much. I'm trying too hard.
Because even that becomes, like you said, the ego puts on a mask. Goes,
snakeskin.
We're going to make this our thing now.
That's right,
Henry.
Let me
this is
get
our
into
thing.
this. He wants to pay attention. All right, I'm going to get into this costume here.
And this is it. We're going to be the best at putting information into our subconscious. So we only positive thoughts come out, only winning thoughts come out, and that leads on. Now you get straight onto another where another carrot comes out and you go down that rabbit hole without even realizing.
Right. And if I can make a suggestion, make it something upbeat, good music, happy. Because let me tell you, that you could put on music that'll bring you down, and you'll just start thinking.
Yeah, Supply.
Don't say Chicago.
REO Speedwagon.
I've heard way too much Chicago in college from John.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I just think
that's what I'm saying. I love 50s doo-wop music.
Oh my God. How could you get upset? That's an upbeat, and it'll bring up your mood, take you away from constant, thinking about how you can better your mind. And I take a break.
You know, it's ironic.
Check out.
It's ironic that I mentioned the word that he has in his phone. And it's ironic you said that because I have, for the last few days, I've been doing that.
Excellent.
Where it's ironic you mentioned it because it was, kind of like, all right, I'm a little bit on overload. And it's not like.
So are you trying to use your mindfulness on that overload to.
Yeah, it's almost like I need my, it's almost like I think my brain needs something to chew on.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
The brain always.
I think.
But I don't think it always does.
The brain does want something to chew on. The mind does want something to chew on. It's just naturally what it likes to do. But if you're not.
Well, we're talking about taking a break from,
there's
brain.
The problem is that you think you don't need, but you do.
I think you're right.
So when that happens, listen, put on the music of choice and just chill and just enjoy the ride to where you're going.
Okay, that's a question. So when you listen to the music, does it ever take you down a memory lane? This song reminds me of this.
Absolutely.
This song reminds me of this. I'll be honest. Watch what the mind does. So that's why I say this is what my point. The mind never stops working if you're not paying attention.
No, for me, no,
it doesn't.
No, I agree.
So you could be.
I think that's for everybody,
good.
actually.
If you could be absolutely present with the music, that's the point.
But that's why I said upbeat stuff because there could be some songs that will bring back.
I can listen to 80s music, like 80s freestyle music, and I'm like,
yeah.
God, I'm thinking of driving my car down 86.
But John,
when I was
that's
a kid.
you attached with music emotionally to things. That's how. Listen, I remember the songs you were playing in when you were breaking up with somebody.
But I'm not talking about Chicago and that. I'm talking more about the use of music. So I'm talking about like more upbeat music, like stuff like that. It could still take me down. It kept back in the day before I became aware. Like if I listened to music, like he was saying, it would take me down a road. It would create a story, and that song would create a story, and I would go on to watch a movie that wasn't happening in my life. So even when you're listening to music, there's the point I was trying to make, like you say, well, music, you just veg out. Be careful, because a lot of times when you listen to music, you don't think, oh, that reminds me of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even then, the point we're trying to make is if you want to really take a break from your mind, so to speak, there are ways to do it. Meditating is a proper way to do it. Applying mindfulness, which is when your mind pulls you away, you shift it back. That, the only time you're...
See if I can find it.
What? The only time you're vegging out, if you're really vegging out, is when you have no, like, okay, if I tell somebody, when you're not thinking,
well,
how would you feel if you
don't take my words so literally of vegging out? Of course, I think you're going to think about things, but my personal belief is if a song comes up and it does invoke a memory, that might be easier to refocus back on what you're doing, rather than delving into your own life and trying to like fix a problem that you've been working on for years.
I agree.
Or whatever it might be. I think that little memory that comes up would be a little bit easier to, I remember that, and then shift back to driving instead of not listening to music or something and then going so deep into your brain that.
Well, yeah.
It's like,
so everybody's different.
Absolutely.
Everybody's different. So for me, when I listen to that music is because I like to sing along, and and that, believe it or not, the singing along is therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's for everybody.
I agree.
And so, but then what happens is I get tired of that too. Okay, so it seems like this is...
Who gets tired of it?
Me. Like, yeah, I did
change the channel.
So look what I've been doing.
What's that like? It's
like
meditative music?
Yeah. Me?
They say certain
How about
frequencies.
Remember Enigma? Back in the day, was at the 90s.
But
they had good
certain
chill music.
They say certain frequencies do.
So literally,
certain frequencies do help slow down certain brain waves and slow thought down. I mean, it's out there.
I'm gonna hit a divider. I'm gonna pass out sleeping.
You would think, but in reality,
I listen to spot music when I drive. Funny.
Yeah. In reality, it's just at the moment. I have a very diverse flavor of everything. Like I love all sorts of music. Literally, there isn't any opera, you name it, anything. I love music, but when I want to, I love music. So, if you're in the mood for it, it's perfect.
So, what about talk radio?
That can engage.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be music. It can be talk radio.
Oh, everybody, hold the thought. We're going to continue with the talk radio too, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
anything. Whatever. We could throw 100 different examples out. They're all going to do. Let's get back to what's the point we're trying to make? Are we trying to say that it's healthy to listen to it? It's not healthy to listen to it, which I don't think it's not healthy. It's healthy to do anything that you enjoy to do to a certain level, as long as you have what?
You don't lose awareness.
As long as you don't lose awareness, because talk radio. So go ahead. You're going to say, listen.
My point was switch it up a little bit, and
how will that affect you?
Yeah. So for me, it's for me. I like, especially right now, with everything that's going on politically.
Me too, I know. I'm addicted.
That's one of my rabbit.
It's like a soap opera for me.
I'm not even watching.
One of my rabbit.
But I don't let it get. Here's the difference, and I told you this before. My friends do the same thing where they get angry and they start questioning or they're yelling at the radio, and I'm like, can't you just look at it as a soap opera? Look at it as listen. There are people that study politics, so look at it as a student of politics. Like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. If you're talking about the Constitution or they're doing this,
you're looking at it with an aware lens,
yes,
like a universal,
and not letting your
like Liam Neeson. I have a special set of skills.
Yeah, then you can absolutely.
Yeah, then I think
you have a special set of.
You're looking at it subjectively.
I'm addicted to listening to this stuff.
Hold on, can I ask a question? But when you look at it, you're not looking at it attached to a certain side, are you?
I'm not going to lie. I
Because that's-
agree with one side more than the other.
That's your bias.
it.
That's a bias. Yeah,
Well, no,
which is fine. It's a bias.
It's a bias. You
No,
have to admit it.
let me. I guess. Okay.
Admit it, because
No, it's just no, but it's not an admitting thing. It's
Not bad.
It's that
It's your
my-
opinion.
Yeah, my values align more with one side than the other. That's it.
It's not your bias. It's just a
Bias sounds like a bad word. though.
It does.
it
It's
has
not.
a negative
Exactly.
connotation.
It does have
It
the
should,
negative connotation.
but it
Well,
should,
that's why I
because-
picked it up as that. But
Yeah, it doesn't. It's the
Okay,
same
then I
fucking
have a
thing.
bias for it. That's
Just like the other people have
But-
bias for their side.
yes, but I am open to hearing the other side, and sometimes it makes sense.
That's right.
But a lot of times, I got to tell you, I don't necessarily agree with it. But
That's your bias.
But I love the back and forth, the behind the scenes, and who's making moves to, put this person where they want it. I just find it fascinating. That's why kids study it in college. It is fascinating, I think.
So
Would I ever want to partake?
I would love for them to do a better job
my
at it.
danger, my danger,
Because they don't do a good job at it.
You know when you're walking in the forest and you hear click, stepped on
bear trap.
you stepped on a mine.
Oh man.
I was thinking mine, yeah.
My bear trap, my mind
What is it? Let me.
is that it's not enough to view it the way you said it. And you're talking to a guy who's aware. Like, I understand. That's why I kind of stay away from it. If I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Why?
Well,
That's it. Why is somebody so aware as you? Yeah, somebody as aware as you should be able to do that and be able to just
You
listen to.
Should is a tough word.
You would think.
Oh,
You would.
Yeah.
But the let's say the worlds collide because it's something it's happening. It's not something you're watching and you're studying. It's something that's happening in real life. It's affecting our lives.
it does.
So it has real world consequences. Like, I mentioned the spy balloon. This is where the spy balloon gets me. So national debt,
Still to this day.
the corruption of all of our systems, all of our education.
I couldn't agree
systems,
more
right?
with you, but I don't.
So-
I got to be honest. This is one section, and you guys are way better at this shit than I am. But I've been practicing on this because I enjoy listening to it, and so many people I know don't. But I practice on not letting it get to me,
Oh,
not letting it get
Me
me
too,
upset.
me too.
Do I send an article to my buddy? Absolutely, because it fires me up a little bit. But I don't let that emotion come out. But internally, I'm like, this is fucked up. End of story.
Yeah.
But it ends there. It ends with, this is messed up. I'm going to go on with my day now. That's it.
Well-
It's just knowledge is all it is.
So for me, it got to a point where I was completely saturated with it. My phone was buzzing every second.
Yeah,
with
that's
stuff
probably
that's
not- yeah.
happening. So it wasn't good for me.
Mhm.
So I stopped everything. Like if I was a smoker, I stopped.
Which,
cold turkey.
again, most of my friends did. They were like, I can't even look at it.
Done.
Yep.
And so I enjoyed a period where it was good, but you also want to be informed, right?
I couldn't agree more.
So now I have this a little bit better approach where I'm informed, but once I feel like my heartstrings are being tugged,
Well, that's
why
but I think that's where your test is. I honestly believe that. That's where you should be training.
for sure.
Because you're not fully informed if there's a point where you shut it off. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not getting the full story.
Well, I
or
have-
the
but-
whole context.
But
of
beyond,
it.
beyond that, I think you were going on. You made a great point. But before that, and then
If I'm sort of there with that, I think you should be kind of close.
But it's not the whole context.
Okay,
It's not the entire context. You're missing one piece.
what's that?
It's a very important piece. I don't believe that what we hear as news is informing
it's
us
true information.
is news informing us.
I agree with you also on that.
I believe it's a brainwashing operation.
I agree.
So
Or you,
But do you understand knowing that and being aware of that
I'm aware,
is like 90% of the battle.
but I'm telling you, because we're all human, we're human. There is a science to this stuff.
Sure, no doubt about it, bro.
And there's ways for you to subject or not subject yourself. So once I've had enough, I'm good.
Listen, I'm sure if you switch the channel to the other side's channel and listen for 6 months, you would start to believe everything that they're telling you.
I do.
so
there
then,
you go.
So then,
To become a informed person,
But then you
listen to
have to
both
look it
sides.
up.
you should
You
be-
should do your
okay,
homework.
but at the end of the day, that's a lot of work. Anyway,
Right, you know.
that's a lot of work to just figure out what the truth is, what the truth isn't.
But you understand what I'm saying is you were right when you said that could be your test because you don't want to.
That's where I was going to go with
You're
it before.
100% right.
Yeah, but that could
And-
be a good place for you to.
if you know me a little bit, what you do, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And because I'm aware of that, and again, full context is we're not listening to news. We're listening to
Misinformation.
not even that. It's like a direct.
Okay, can I give you something deep I got in my head right now?
Yeah.
Don't you realize that that's what you're telling yourself? That's what you're working up into a frenzy, is that this is my life, this is going to affect me. And that is part of your workup of telling yourself that what I'm listening to is actually going to happen. When in reality, if you really tell yourself 80% of that is bullshit, okay, but it's fun to listen to. It's fun to hear their emotion in their voices. And
I love what you just said.
you know,
That is 100%.
that's why I spit it out. I'm sorry.
99% correct. You are 99.
I'm never 100%.
No, because you're right. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
It's my take on it. Doesn't
You're
mean
telling
it's
yourself
real.
that. Yeah.
It's my subjective reality.
So think about if you changed your subjective reality and told yourself what I tell myself, or something similar.
If I adopt your
No. I just said or something similar,
Yeah.
not my set.
No,
not the way I
if
think.
I were to adopt your view, your subjective reality,
No,
your lens.
No, change your own view.
Right.
Don't worry about what I'm thinking, but change the way you're thinking about it. And I think you'll have a little bit more enjoyment. And when you look at it as entertainment and not a life threat to you, you're going to look at it differently. Convince yourself it's entertainment.
I know.
It's pure.
Yeah, but
It's pure entertainment, bro. In reality, that's what most of it is.
But it comes to a point that it's entertainment.
That's why people are watching it.
To the line, and then past that line is, holy shit, there are other nations looking at us going, what the fuck is happening?
And why does that concern you so much? Because
I live in this country.
when a missile comes over and hits over here, don't worry about it. You won't know anything about it anymore. It won't be an issue. That'll be the end of it.
Yeah, I guess.
We're in New Jersey, so we're close enough to New York.
I guess
we're going to be evaporated, so don't worry about it.
That's one way.
Same thing I told my brother-in-law is terrified of flying. I mean, the guy literally boxes himself to only where he could drive him and his family instead of getting on a plane. And believe me, I have tried to convince this guy, you could be a rock star. Just buy tickets for your wife, go somewhere for a weekend, quick getaway, short trip. I says, you can do this, dude. I go, and he's like, I don't know. I said, what are you exactly scared of? And he's like, oh, I'm scared of what everybody's scared of, that, the plane, something's going to happen. I go, so what do you care at that point? At that point, what do you care? You got about 10 to 15 seconds of sheer terror, none of which you'll remember. But what I'm saying is, it's out of your control. Don't let that shit, the shit that you can't control, bother you.
So
you're not flying the plane.
So that's what you should lead with. Is there's certain things that
I had a point I was getting to.
No. Meaning like even when you talk to your brother-in-law, right? Like to say there's 1056 of sheer terror. So if you have a phobia about something, you got to put yourself in that person's shoes.
I try. No, because I don't like flying either. I don't think anybody enjoys it.
I love flying.
Absolutely,
love flying.
Yeah, well, I'm everybody's flying you.
I take in flying lessons. I love flying, and when I get on a
commercial flight,
but even commercial flights, I enjoy flying. Do I have apprehensions when I get on a plane? My mind will automatically give me them, right?
And what do you do?
I've honed the skill where I choose to not pay attention to them. The person, and I can tell you as somebody who's dealt with many phobias in his life, the person who's in that moment dealing with that phobia, the phobia could be, I don't want to get pulled in by the politics. I know it's going to happen. I don't want to get on a plane because I'm scared it's going to happen. I don't want to get in a car because I'm scared it's going to happen. I don't want to go up an escalator. I don't want to go into a mall because it's tons.
It goes down and down.
It's easy for us to say to that person, just don't let it control you because it's not your phobia.
You're right.
If there was something that pulled here on you,
very good,
because none of us are above being human. If it's it's hard. So when there's somebody who is dealing with something, I make sure never to tell them the line that I was always given.
I'm from a bad position. I don't have many phobias. I don't think I have any at all.
Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
I just don't have any, so I'm not very understanding of them. That's what it comes down to.
Phobias? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you have phobias or not. I mean,
you know what? Everything you just said.
My line of work, you couldn't have phobias. There was no such thing. End of story. That was full stop. So, but that makes me insensitive, though. That makes me insensitive to people who have them.
That makes you the person, and I love you to death.
Oh boy! Once somebody says "I love you to death," the next thing coming is gonna be a slam.
No, that's what might kill me. So here's it. You want to be.
With all due respect,
You want to be mindful. I'll change it. You want to be mindful that you are the person who is, while you're understanding of what that person is dealing with, that you're able to help guide them to help them deal with whatever they're dealing with. It can take, when that person gets on a plane, somebody who's scared of flying, they are petrified.
He's been on. Don't get me wrong. He has, in an emergency, gotten on a plane for a family member.
But not him, her, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be your brother-in-law. Is absolutely 110 petrified.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, not only is it going to happen, how, when, like immediate, it's imminent. Their inner being, their anxiety levels are now spiking. Their mind is screaming, "Get the fuck out of this now!" And they will only feel safe until they get out of it. So that's something where they can't just get over it. Now, yes, the best way to get over something like that, or get through it, is to to face the fear, right? Go against the grain.
And me being trying to be supportive was, I'll go with you. You can hold my arm, whatever you want to do, but I'll be next to you through the whole thing. You know, that was like my, like I said, I'm insensitive to it a little bit. That was my push of, I will go with you if that's what you'll.
Your degree of sensitivity.
Exactly. That was it. And it's a shame, but that's as far as I went. You know, I didn't understand it. I'm sorry. Like, I could push through any of my fears, and not being able to do that sometimes, I don't comprehend it enough. That's just me.
We all have hang-ups. Hang-ups are different than fears.
Yeah, fear is a hang-up. I don't think it's a fear.
A fear is something that you're going to think about,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to grip you. Wow. And almost like, okay, somebody retires from a job, right? They retire from the job. They lose. Nelson, they have a fear that they lost their identity.
Well, yeah.
That loss of identity, you know how, like, yeah. I was a contractor for 30 years.
Yeah.
Now what am I? And it becomes a fear. I don't know what I am. I don't know what I am. I'm scared that I don't know what I am. I don't know what and in different flavor, same fucking cone. Like, the ice cream cone doesn't change, just a different flavor. So, I mean, everybody could deal with, certain fears.
When you were in therapy.
Yeah.
Remember, you had certain, and I forget what you call them, but you had sessions where you actually engage in the fear.
Yeah.
Right? And you're
ERP, exposure response prevention.
You're in it. Get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a contained environment.
Out of 10, yeah, right? At the beginning.
And I think that same thing, that it's a good differentiation between a fear and a hang-up. And just like, have you ever been in a claustrophobic panic? Because I experienced claustrophobia.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it for sure.
And I have been in a claustrophobic panic. But the funny part is that while I was in the panic, there was nothing happening to me. Nobody had their hand on my neck.
Yeah. It was your own brain.
It was 100%
convincing you the rest of your body you were in danger. And that's what it is.
It was the only thing that got me through the 15, 20 minutes of that claustrophobic event. That, just thinking about it now, I lose my breath. It's amazing how your mind works that way. And I don't even, I'm going to use the word trust. I don't trust that if I were to be put into that same claustrophobic event again, being as aware as I am, I don't know if I would want to do it, just like you in the room with your psychiatrist. I don't know if I'd want to face my claustrophobia. Like, I don't, why would I do that? Why would I?
It's like an MRI.
You want to know why? It's a barrier in your life. However you look at it, it's a barrier in your life.
Yeah,
that's
all
it is. Right. And to knock down that barrier could open up doors down the road somewhere for you that you're not even aware of, that God has put you on the path of, or the universe, however you look at it. And that's what you're going to miss out on.
You're right.
Yeah, and that's why
we go to therapy.
And that's what, exactly.
Well, 100% people go to therapy.
That's why you do go to therapy. That's why you do talk to somebody. That's why you do
take it down those walls.
Work with a life coach, whatever, depending on what the anxiety is, to get you past those blocks. And all those blocks are mental blocks that your mind put there. I don't know how we got here, but we got here.
Yeah, well, we got
it flows, bro. It don't matter.
So
my father-in-law was a submariner for the Navy.
Oof. Was it really?
Talk about close.
I was a submariner, You spend weeks under
Yeah.
water. Weeks. And he goes, bro, we come up. He goes, you don't know you smell, but you smell. Yeah. And oh my God. That was one of my events.
Wait, he said weeks. These days, with the nuclear submarines and everything, they can stay underwater for months. The only reason they make their own water, they make their own oxygen. They only surface to get food. They can only fit food in so many spots. But they're underneath for months. They're making their own air. They're making air conditioning, water, everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is amazing engineering. If you ever look into that stuff, I love it.
So that's one extreme, right? Spending weeks. For me, that's my claustrophobia. One of my is like I had a big event on a glass bottom boat.
There you go.
So I went underneath in a submarine style where
I know what you're talking about.
they closed.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah. The minute they closed the latch, I'm like, whoa. And so everything is glass on the sides, and I'm sitting on a 1-person row. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So if I run forward, I have nowhere to go because there's people. If I run backward, there's people, and I got to reach that latch because if this breaks, I'm not going to be able to breathe. I got to reach that latch. I got to be sitting by the latch at the very least. You can't do that.
Let me ask you something.
I'd be worried about it. My thing is, what if I have to pee?
Wait. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you an honest, serious question, just like the plane. Where are you going to run to? What is going to save your life in that situation? You want to know what? Nothing.
You're right, but that would
so accept that.
But right, but back then, but that would mean that's me accepting a fatalistic view of things.
Again, this is where I excel, is that acceptance into something bad can happen.
Well, then again, you had a
job. That's some place where I'm comfortable in.
You know what? Actually, this explains a lot. Your train of thought can be explained by the job that you had.
Exactly right. Yeah.
You ran to fucking problems. Like you ran into problems. Like it's possible I don't have that training, so I saw a problem. I go, yo, maybe there's a better way. Hold on. Like there's no time to think.
It was different. Yeah.
You jump in the fucking fire. Where I'm thinking about it. Hold on. Nobody jump. I'm going to sit there and try. And you're like, you already took the guy out.
But with enough of bad things happening, there are certain things you just can't escape in life. It's life. Okay. So if you're in a submarine underwater, and I'm using you as an example, no matter what your brain is going to tell you to do when that thing goes or water leaks in, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. So accept the fact that you're along for the ride, just like a plane. I paid somebody to fly it. I'm not flying it. What's that?
Go back to his advice. It's easy for
You're saying I'm being too insensitive.
No, you're not.
For you to
you're applying a very major. I can't think of the word. It's like a extreme acceptance. So extreme acceptance.
Yes, that's where I'm at.
Extreme. This is
I am. I'm
just ready in those situations. But how come in other things you've had a hard time accepting?
Very true. It hasn't, but also hasn't been long enough. Because you're talking about 20-something years,
But no. But it goes back. So it goes to what he was saying. Your mind is wired because of what you've done repetitively over the years a certain way.
Yeah.
His mind is wired a certain way.
Perspective. Which
is why with me, why I see things so differently. Since I'm a kid, my mind's been wired. I've been able to see things. Even in my worst days, I still always had. My blinders were never like this. I was always able to get a broad view of what's happening in life. We're all wired differently. So I think that's which I think is the beauty of life. Because if we were all Anthonys, there'll be a world of Anthonys.
Shit.
Not that that's a bad thing.
But the three of us have different lifestyles.
Look, you need an Anthony mentality. You need a Henry mentality.
I agree.
You need a John mentality in the world to have things function properly. You can't have everybody running into the fire. You need some guys who sit back and think a little bit differently. But you need the guys who still run into the fire.
Everybody
you still gotta go in the fucking fire.
Everybody in the world can't be a doctor. We also need plumbers.
Yes.
We need.
So coming out with the people, and we're like, all right, I got an idea.
But that's
what's happening.
But that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of it, is we all are different in our own different ways.
And I think that's what God does, and that's what makes everything connected, interconnected, is that we all technically need each other to do things in society to make it run smoothly.
Oh, absolutely. In society, we do. Yeah. Society's not run by one person, but it's always been very important. And this is a skill that I've had, since I'm a kid. I could put myself in somebody's shoes immediately and understand how they feel about something. And it's probably empathy. It's empath in me. I could say, I get how he feels.
Yeah.
I get how you feel. Like, I get the, I don't have the fear. Come on. My father was like that. And I get the person who says, but it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy who slithers in the middle and goes, I get it. I get it.
I don't get it.
Now let's see.
I have to put myself in, whether it be Henry or my brother. I really have to try. And then even sometimes it's still, because I said to him, you know, with my brother, for example, I said, nobody likes to fly, because he's like, I really don't like flying. I'm like, yeah, nobody really enjoys it that much. There's also, you know, when you take off, you bounce, little bumps, you're in a flying tube. Let's be perfectly honest.
And I said, I love it.
You know, and
would you have thought that?
I didn't think that.
I giggle when a plane takes off.
No,
I giggle when a plane lands.
But I didn't know you like flying, so
I'll look at my wife and go, you know what's happening right now? She's like, I really don't care. I'm like, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Yeah, because I'm so into it.
You know what's going on.
I love it so much, right?
I hate flying.
But you only know what you think you know. And always remember that the person sitting across from you, the person sitting on this side of the table, the person who's dealing with something across from you does not process, see their base.
I agree.
Our base reality. Watch how we bring it back. Our base reality.
Yeah, it's like a Seinfeld episode.
Our base reality is the same, but the way you're seeing it is one way. The way you're seeing it is another. That's the way my way of seeing it is a different way. And if we don't have the ability to understand that we all don't see it the same way, how can we help each other? So the only way I can help that person is not to tell them what to do, but to show them how they could relate with that part of their mind that's blocking them from what they want to do. So if I could tell you, like, it makes sense what you say. Just get on the plane. Like, it makes, like, legitimately practical 100. Like, there's no fault in what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
The plane goes down, you're gonna fucking die. What are you worried about?
We're all going down together.
Just ready? True or false? Yeah, true. Okay. It makes sense. 99% chance. If something horrible,
but that's also how simple my brain is. I do piece it like you said.
Exactly.
And that's it. There's no in between. So maybe I could grab the controls.
So then there's the person who's a different kind of thinker. I don't know what kind. We're differently. Where their mind goes. But wait, what if I could do that? What if that happens? And what if that happens? But then I could do this, and then I could do that.
But in reality, you can't do anything.
Technically, we don't know, Anthony. You don't know. I mean, listen.
Slap your arms?
No. Not if the plane's going down that you could do something.
But I think that's
to save it.
Isn't that the fear, though?
But I think everybody's base fear.
The only fear really is hitting the ground without the wheels.
The mind for everybody. The mind's base fear in every human being is one thing. There's only one base fear in everybody's mind. That's it. The mind. Not the person, not the human, not the, like, I would say my mind is scared of dying, but I'm not.
Yeah.
People are like, what does mean? My mind doesn't want to die because my mind only knows how to live.
Okay, so they fear
whatever's behind it, that doesn't, and that's what you tap into when you're scared of something. I am beyond my thinking mind. I'm not that mind that's freaking out right now. I'm something that's actually watching it freak out. So this isn't scared of dying because this is watching this happen to this person.
Can I defend myself?
Yeah,
maybe. No, I know.
Yeah, nobody's going against.
But maybe it's not lack of empathy, and maybe
we don't want to sound like
no. But I said
you're not
myself.
A cold-hearted fuck.
I said it myself. Okay, so you didn't say it. I said it.
No, we're not.
But maybe it's not lack of empathy, and maybe it's really acceptance of the situation you're in. Maybe I'm at a little bit different of a level where I'm just like, I accept the fact that I'm on this plane and I'm going along for the ride with everyone.
I said that's an extreme acceptance.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I'm sorry.
I said no. I'm sorry. It's an extreme acceptance, which is a thing. Extreme acceptance is you got cancer, you're going to die. Okay. Now it's not easy to say okay to that, right? Okay. Feelings, emotions, depending on the person, going to come up. Fear. Whatever it might be is going to come up. But at some point, that only happens if you're able to disconnect from all the thoughts and say, well, this is going to happen. Now I get to choose how I want to live.
How do I want to proceed?
If for certain people, that's easier to do than others. But I don't think one makes you more Zen than the other, because I think Zen and mindfulness are something different. You're able to disconnect from those thoughts because they don't trigger an emotional response in you. They trigger one in him.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a tube. You don't get triggered emotionally.
No.
He does. for whatever reason. Could be a trauma, something that happened to him when he was a kid,
I get it.
or just a built-in flaw.
get that.
I'm the same way. I don't like being trapped in. When I get trapped in, my first thing is, where's the exit?
See, and I trained in confined space.
Yeah, I don't.
That was one of my things. So
Exactly.
I had to, go down into tubes and package people up and then drag them out in spaces that, you could barely fit your body through. And so maybe, I'm sorry. I start to think, and I'm not patting myself on the back, that I maybe along the way practiced a little bit of acceptance without even over the years, without even realizing.
No, you did.
Your line of work, yeah.
You know
You
what I'm
did.
saying? I feel like maybe I really was doing that, and I don't even realize it.
You were, because it was thrust upon you.
Yes. It wasn't something I thoughtfully went after.
No, I'm not saying
was.
that. I just, I think,
There's no other way to deal with this.
I think
He was, it's not stopping people from going 50 and a 25.
Yeah,
If you were ESU,
a little different. Yeah,
E standing for emergency,
yeah.
service.
you're done.
Yeah, that's it.
It-
Everything was high risk,
Everything was-
high. It's either you live, you die, or you go left, you go. Look at 9/11. I had people that were dying right, and it went left, you went right, you lived. It was one of those crazy things, but it was
But that's extreme acceptance thing. That's
was
extreme acceptance.
I guess what does extreme acceptance mean? Like it's thrust upon you and see the.
It just means
Sink or
it just
swim kind of
means
thing?
For some reason, at that moment, you accept any and all outcomes and choose to do the thing you're doing anyway.
And it became a lifestyle for me because honestly, all honesty, that was the only way to proceed mentally in our line of work. Is you had to accept what was happening.
Absolutely.
On. You couldn't live
That's
in
why I
what
think
just
only
happened.
certain people who are wired certain ways naturally are even able to do certain jobs.
You're right. I
Not
agree
everybody
with
could be a cop. Not everybody could be a fireman. Not everybody,
Yeah,
not
I
everybody
agree.
could be an EMT. Not everybody could be a doctor. and
Agreed.
perform surgery for 7 hours.
We'd all be doctors if we could all be doctors.
If I could sit for 7 hours and cut somebody's brain open and figure it out, I would do that too, probably.
He had extreme danger here, and he had a human being himself here. Extreme danger, human being. If you don't cut that nerve in the middle, you're never gonna treat the emergency the way it has to be treated. So he cuts the thinking process. Done.
It's almost a block.
Can I ask you
It's almost like a block. that's
So
going up.
where John said, like, my situation was consistent, extreme acceptance, which I'm glad you put it together because I've thought about that before and you put a word to it, but it is extreme
That's what I
acceptance.
do.
But yeah, it is what you did. But for you, do you think that might work in something that you fear? Like whether, let's just say it's flying. Would that extreme acceptance work for someone?
Yeah, I don't fear flying.
Like I dragged you onto my friend Henry. I'm like, bro, we're going. Come on.
Yeah,
and I drag you onto the plane. I'm like, we're doing this
I don't
together.
fear flying. So that's
I'm just using that as an example. Yeah, as if. Would that work, do you think, for some people? Like where
could work. Yeah.
there's no other thing you do other than accept it.
Yes, what were you going to say?
It depends on the person.
What were you going to say? You were going to say, it also what?
No, wait. It all depends on the person. So, like, because you could also trigger a very bad event.
Understood. Yeah, I get that. I guess you're right. Yeah,
It caused
could go
a
right
trauma.
go wrong.
It caused a trauma.
So that's
Yeah.
why I like me. I'm up for going in a submarine. Yeah, let's do it.
I know I'd be scared. Like I know I'd have that phobia.
Okay, so my point
I'd
is,
still be able to do
my
it.
point is, let's just say you're what was this, your father-in-law? Sabrina, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say Bob set something up for you one day. He's going to go out on the USS Los Angeles for a night.
The SS Bakuna.
Okay, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
So do you think you went in, hatch closed, you went on a 2-day trip, right? You came out of there. You had to accept, there was no let me off. You had to accept where you were, and
That is extreme acceptance.
that's what I'm saying.
You have
That is extreme acceptance. But my
choice has
question
been
to
taken
you
away
is,
because you can't leave.
I take you off the submarine, and your brain said, you go, wow, look at that, I'm alive, I'm still here. Would you ever do it again, or would you, if you did, have the same amount of fear?
I think
is my question.
the experience would have to be experienced for you to know that answer.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay, I'll accept that, but I'm curious.
My make-believe answer, because I don't know it. My make-believe answer is no. I don't. If I don't have to do it again, I don't want to do it again. That's my make-believe.
because it's not something that.
But probably there are some people who will be like,
So I think
it's going to be that good.
So I think you get the mixed response.
Yeah,
you get
it depends on the person. I
You
suppose.
get the person who's going to say, no, I'll never do this again.
Mhm.
Don't ever fucking do this to me again. And then there's going to be the person who goes, you know what, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
I'm
But
alive.
usually,
Yeah.
the person who says, that's not as bad as I thought, their phobia, if we're going to go 0 to 10, wasn't a 9 or an 8 or a 10. It was more like a 4 or 5. Or like for me, it'd be like, I don't like claustrophobic things, but I'm not a 10. I'm like a 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, you know, depending on what, like, I don't like MRI machines, but I had to do one for my neck, 45 minutes, with my neck in a cage. My thing was on that button. I wanted to push that button about 5 times. Every time I did, I applied mindfulness. I said, thank you, mind. I appreciate it. But I'm just going to sit here a little while longer.
Right.
Thank you, mind. I appreciate it. But I'm going to sit here a little while longer. And I listen to the music. Are they there? Are they there? My mind would say, thank you, mind. I appreciate it. Thank you. I know what you're trying to do. Again, I'm not listening to it. No problem. I'll listen here anyway. When it was over, I got out. Joe, we have to do another one. Fuck you.
Yeah, but if it was an emergency, you would.
Yeah.
Of course you would. But that's my point. Is like, you're like,
saying it
I did it that time. I could probably do it again.
I'm saying it tongue in cheek. Like,
But there has
John,
to
would
be-
you want to do that again?
There has to be
No,
that
listen,
one
I have to.
threshold breakthrough, though. And my point is, if I dragged him onto a submarine for 2 nights, that one threshold breakthrough
But drag
could
him
change your
on.
mind.
But
you know?
but dragging. See, so even the words we use, dragging somebody into
You
doing
have to get
something
them out
that,
fast because you
that they-
cut me off.
that they don't want to. Well, I'm not even- I sat quiet for about 15 minutes before.
Because I had a gunpoint there.
Yeah.
Oh, we're breaking chops. We're breaking chops.
The talent will leave. I'm kidding. If we use the word drag to somebody into something, right? It's almost like they're unwilling. It's very important for that person to willingly really want you, because if they're going to saying, I'm going to do this and I know I'm going to be triggered, they're in a much better stance to be able to watch that anxiety
Yeah,
come up.
but somebody who's
and
got a
allow
real
it to
phobia
flow
most
through.
likely wouldn't voluntarily do something like that.
No, I had to voluntarily sleep with a knife next to my bed.
I know.
Therapy. I had to
know.
voluntarily, hold on, and I'll get graphic. I had to voluntarily hold a knife in therapy like this, as I'm telling a lady a story about something that made me fucking cringe, and I would cry when I was saying
Can I ask you something?
Then-
Extreme therapy? Extreme acceptance?
So hold on.
Is that
For me-
extreme acceptance for you?
No, that was part of therapy. So I was doing it in a controlled environment.
Understood. And plane is technically a controlled environment too.
A plane?
Yeah, when was the last time you heard a plane go down? It's a controlled environment. If I took him on a ride to Florida now,
No, but you're missing my point. I wasn't. I
was
had
yours an
willingly-
extreme
I had
acceptance?
No, because I had to willingly put myself in that situation, knowing that I was going to feel what I was going to feel and allow it to be there. I wasn't trying to extremely accept anything. I was allowing what was going to come up at that moment.
See, I think you're accepting the fact that the knife you're not going to miraculously push it into your own chest. I think you don't think that's an acceptance?
No, so there is a baseline acceptance there, but it wasn't extreme acceptance, because what I was doing was actually it was ERP. It was exposure therapy, right? It was part of holding whatever it might be, a germ. People have to do with toilets, with lights, whatever the phobia might be.
Spider.
Yeah, but spider.
Isn't that the same as taking somebody onto a plane who doesn't like flying?
So I wasn't told, let's go, you're coming with me now. It was, do you want to? Yes or no? I chose to say, I'm going to put myself
In an uncomfortable.
in this uncomfortable position because I want to expose myself to this thing that terrifies me beyond anything, so I can learn how to watch that fear instead of become the fear.
I think
When
you're a unicorn, but there aren't many people. I think you're a unicorn.
No, it's ERP is worked for millions of people. It's a great form of therapy, especially for OCD and anxiety.
I agree with you. I'm gonna give you the comparison. The comparison is there's a plane parked right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're afraid of flying. There's a plane parked right there. If you're okay, let's walk in the plane. Anthony's a certified pilot, very knowledgeable. We're going to go for a 5-hour ride, okay? And I want to trigger in a controlled environment. Again, not, let's go. No. Now, are you okay? You want to do it? In other words, it's something to do with his willingness to do it,
Chapter.
right? Something to do, I think what you're trying to get at, his willingness to do it, versus like your brother-in-law be like,
Dragging him on.
I don't want to go, bro. Anthony, I don't want to go.
Oh, I hear you, and he has said that, and I have not dragged him on. No, but I agree, but
That would be the.
I was just trying to make.
I don't know. I guess I'm just a person where that kind of extreme acceptance worked, and
But it's not applicable everywhere.
it's not. It's not. You're right, and that's what I
Your
understand.
wiring
I understand.
is very much go. That's your wiring.
I guess I can't understand why others. I don't know.
Well, again, because you were
Yeah, I'm
Stick
trying.
around.
I'm trying. Listen, I just sometimes don't understand it.
No, but you.
And by the way, I'm talking shit because I don't know you for that long enough to know.
No, but like that is.
But it's that in my mind, it's your wiring, the 20 something years of wiring a certain way.
Yeah.
It's either do or don't.
Mhm.
Done.
Live or die.
Do or don't. And it's that I think, and what happens is your train of thought is applying that here, and
It doesn't work as much.
Can I ask you a question? Are all three of your kids just like you? Non-anxious, do or don't?
No, not all three of them. No.
Okay, so do you treat all three kids the same exact way?
no.
No. So I'm sure there's one child.
But wait, wait. Can I say? Let me
say yes.
No, can I say this though? All three of my kids absolutely do have that built. I've done that to them where I have made them face their fears.
Okay.
My oldest never wanted. She was terrified of roller coasters. So what did Dad do?
You dragged her on the airplane.
I dragged her onto the airplane, or I dragged her onto
The roller coaster.
She's a roller coaster enthusiast now. I mean, she sends me videos of roller coasters but what it did was it opened up a new world for her that she may not.
She was scared of roller coasters, right?
Yes.
When
Yes.
as a child,
Well, I wouldn't say she was a child. I mean,
was she 19 when
she had to fit on the ride. No, she had probably 15, 16.
Okay, they're still young enough where they look at you as I'm with my dad.
Sure.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm with my dad. I'm safe.
And I told her that. I'm with you.
When you do it with an adult has built-in biases, fears, and mental blocks
gotcha.
that you don't have. But what I was trying to get to is, I bet you don't take the same approach with all three children. There might be one where you're a little bit more careful with your words.
Yes, my middle one.
Okay, all right. Let's just say you don't have to.
She's also more sensitive.
But you don't have to say who it is. I'm not even talk about your kids in front of people if you're not comfortable with it. You know, but that's the point I'm trying to make. So that extreme acceptance sometimes apply. That's not it. It works. It's great.
Well, first of all, you're right. Can I tell you why? Because my youngest won't go anywhere near a roller coaster and will have a panic attack if I bring it up, knowing what I did to her other two sisters,
But
who now are okay with roller
one
coasters.
day she'll be willing.
Maybe, but I will not like grab their arm and drag them. It'll have to be a little bit of willingness, like,
And that he just made like he's making.
maybe I broke them down. Don't get me wrong. I probably broke them down over time. Like, come on, I'm with you.
But you'd call it another trauma. Why don't you do that to your...
No, if you dragged her on anything.
True. You don't want to do that. But when I say drag, that's, again, my words. I got to use.
Yeah,
Drag is more of a strongly convinced.
So that's what I love about this show.
Not physically.
It's a round table of, so we all know, like, there's nobody here that knows everything or thinks they know everything. That's what I love about it, is as long as everybody's always willing to hear the other person, like you will see, like I will see things that you guys say, like, wow.
Learning should never stop.
Wow. So the point is, what we're trying to make is it doesn't work. Like that doesn't work for everybody.
I see.
I say the ERP and that word willingness that he said, which is what I was getting at. With it's a choice. You have to have that free. If you have,
I see it. Yeah, I see.
Willing to go into that MRI machine, get on that plane, go into that submarine.
There's a little bit of will. There has to be will.
They are already saying, "I'm willing to feel whatever I have to feel."
You decided.
Right? And I decide now, when it's over, I could gauge and go, did I feel a 20? Did I feel a 10? Did I feel an 11? When I was in that plane, did those bumps take me to a 15 where I couldn't do it? And maybe they have to do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And then eventually they would acclimate to it. And that's the whole point of it. So
makes perfect sense. It does come. You honestly have taught me a lesson here. That you cannot force that extreme acceptance. It can come, but it can't be forced.
I think everybody.
I think that's the main. Yeah. Am I right? I got that right?
I think everybody will, at some point in their life, have some sort of extreme acceptance that they're going to have to, absorb.
It's usually thrust upon them, though.
But it's usually thrust upon them. When you force somebody into a situation, when you tell them, like, that was done to me as a kid and with the best of intentions, and it backfired horribly, miserably. Like, it was epic fail 101. It just doesn't work. My older sister, it did work. With me, no. That's how this brain doesn't work. No. I don't process like that. I don't know what to tell you. You talking Chinese right now. I'm talking English. We're not communicating.
That's why this brain doesn't work.
This brain is shutting down. I'm done.
So,
Meatloaf.
Yeah, oh yeah. I got dinner waiting.
anyway,
The proverbial meatloaf.
so that was a fun twist.
That was a good episode. That really was.
ayahuasca.
You know what?
Ayahuasca.
What makes it fun is that it could start at one point, hit another point, but then it also wraps around and comes to a conclusion. It's very good.
If you started and listened back to all the episodes that before you came on, how often you'll actually see me on camera doing this. Watch how we bring it back around.
Nothing sticks. Like hardly ever do we stay on the same.
But we always tie it in at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the beauty.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So good.
Hope you learned.
All right, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Once again, catch you guys next week. Peace. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.